Hey everybody, it's Laura Eisenhower coming to you from Goblin Valley State Park. And this is just another section of it. It's a pretty wild part of it because we're going to go through a canyon now. And so I'm going to take you on a little walk. And hopefully I can do this at the same time without falling into a hole, which is kind of easy to do. And so this is a canyon with just all sorts of incredible detail and crazy formations. Detail as in, whoa, like that's nature art. It's so cool. It's so cool. And then out, you look to the vast desert and some mesas in the distance. Yep. And I'm trying to drink as much water as possible. When I'm in places like this, I think about that show, I Shouldn't Be Alive. And just, geez, I haven't even been in here that long, and I can't imagine being in here for days without water. I've spent a lot of time in the desert. Spent 3 months in Baja, just camping without, anything but packed food and water that we ended up finding and our backpacks. But that was 3 months. That was a long ass time. But you have the support of a team and you're somewhat prepared. But when stuff goes wrong and all of a sudden you might fall and get injured, or your vehicle breaks down and you're in these kind of areas, it's pretty freaky to think, especially just thinking about it right now. But that's not going to happen, so why talk about it? But here's a pretty wild looking canyon that's like the goblin lair. All these crazy formations, goblins and mushrooms, and like I said before, other formations that we can figure we know what those are. So, kind of hiking through some bumpy, weird terrain is just like, whoa. There's some sculptors that do stuff that resembles this. I don't know what I'm talking about. Obviously, it's a little hot, but I could be quiet and just show you the coolness of it all. And here I am. I'm going to exit my way out. But this is what it looks like to be in the canyon at Goblin Valley. A canyon at Goblin Valley. Fortunately, the treads on my shoes are pretty darn good. And as you can see, it gets a lot paler up at the tops. And it's just really wild. And it's a pretty big park. I showed you that first video where everything's like smaller looking mushroom type things. This is kind of taller canyons. And this is what it looks like actually if you hike into that other area. It's too far of a hike for us to go today. But this sort of gives us a sneak peek of what that hike would look like, because this particular area, which is much more accessible, has the same kind of formations. And I'm just really glad to kind of bring you in, because it's a pretty long trip. It takes a lot to create these sort of journeys, and not a lot of people have heard of Goblin Valley. But like I said, I'll never forget it. And the minute I knew we were coming to Utah, I'm like, we got to go to Goblin Valley. As you see, these formations are just really wild. And it changes because the earth, the dirt is so soft that, it rapidly changes over the course of not a whole lot of time compared to, something that's a harder type stone or rock. This is kind of like, dirt. I bet I could just grab a chunk of it, no problem. But I'm not going to, because that wouldn't be good. That wouldn't be fair. That wouldn't be right. That's probably going to break park rules. So I don't need to show anything like that, but I don't think it's any different than the ground I'm walking on compared to Red Rock, which it sort of resembles. Okay, so before I sound too hot and redundant and thirsty, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you so much for taking this little journey with me. I've got some photos too, and my God, I'm so glad we were able to stop here. What a cool, cool place. All right, see you guys. Bye.